Okay, need a motion to come out of closed session.
I move we come out of closed session.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Now, Rick, you're ready for your motion.
Well, I'll make a motion to enter in a real estate contract with Gene L. Neve for the purchase of the property for the Conservation Department.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mort. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Thanks, Todd. Thank you, guys.
I don't know if you want to stick around with that or not. I was gonna have the board set the date for, the budget room. Todd is aware that because we were spending some money that wasn't allocated, wasn't in the budget, that we'll need to do budget amendments to get that money in there for him. But, I mean, it's there in the cash, but it's just not in the budget. And according to governmental rules, you can't overspend the budget. Since we're using both land acquisition and REIT money, we have everything budgeted in there, so both of them. So we would like to set the date for December 29th at 8:40. I don't need a motion on that, if that's okay with you guys.
So moved. I'll second it. I'm sorry, Carl.
Amendment budget date of December 29th at 8:40.
Then I'll second it.
Second, any other discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
See you then.
Thank you.
You just lost some land, Gary.
Not me.
Yeah.
Are we ready, we have to go in ready for the next one?
That'll be that.
Yeah, we got that at 10.
Could ask Gary who was bombing that way we'd know for sure. He was the best, wasn't he?
Okay, we need a motion on the drainage.
So moved.
I'd second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
I will get this thing.
Any details on how much land was purchased?
Are you done with
26.9
this? Is that for the...
acres, I think.
7.
6.7,
Aye.
26 plus.
I think the conservation department, what are they gonna use it for?
Campground expansion.
Oh, okay.
Future development.
Thanks. Wow. Really fast.
Rick?
Morning.
Hey, you got the whole crew with you.
Yeah, I brought part of the crew with me today. Said it was about time to do that, so. And I don't really have much for updates other than one thing. I know DD 114 has been a big issue with the railroad. The latest thing that's taken a while to work out, there were several parcels that had railroad ownership or past railroad ownership. Matter of fact, there was one parcel that had one parcel number, had part of it owned by the railroad, part of it by the elevator. Working with the assessor's office, they got all those taken care of. So, and as of Thursday of last week, we had the basic reclassification done. I need to meet with the commissioners to look at adjustments. And just so you know, what the plan is to probably put 100 points per acre on the railroad, and then put the others, we'll use soils and other things, but put those low enough so that the railroad's paying approximately 50% of the debt at this time. And my presentation at the hearing will be that the railroad is a higher value use of the land, and therefore the benefit should be a lot more than other use. You know, personally, agriculture is an extremely high use. But when you compare that to interstate commerce and the railroad,
There's a lot more dollars lost to shut down that train.
yeah, that's right. So, and what you have to go through with that, so.
When was that original line put under the track? Know what year?
I think it was about, I think it was after 1910. That one sticks in my mind, it was 1914 or 1915.
Long time.
Long time, yeah. It's one of your later districts, being 114, where your newest is like
Numbers, yeah.
126, so it was a later one, but most of those were done between 1903 and 1920. Yeah, huge percentage of the districts were done in those years. So, yeah, so we're glad to get that cleaned up. Also, at the same time, I wanna try and meet with commissioners for DD2. I've been working on splitting out the costs between the main and lateral eye, so we can have a number to spread for costs on each of those, 'cause there'll be a reclassification for the main and a reclassification for branch I. So, our office manager's off Monday, so I'm gonna talk to her tomorrow morning as far as anything else we need on those. I'll be calling the commissioners and trying to set up a meeting yet this week. It may take more than one meeting to get them satisfied with them enough to sign them. Typically, what we do, we bring down our best shot at it, meet with the commissioners, talk through possible adjustments to make. For example, 114, the railroad's gonna be a huge thing to look at for adjustments. So,
What's it gonna amount to for the average taxpayer in the city of Livermore?
not too bad. Because when we get it down to half the costs, I didn't look at numbers on the lots because there were so many of those left out too. So we didn't even spread a number yet because, oh God, there must have been 30 or 40 properties left off of the printout. So that all had to be corrected too. Later this week I could tell you.
That's okay.
I don't think it's gonna be bad at all.
Maybe I'll ask you next time you're down.
There you go, yeah.
I'll do.
What's that?
Do that, because I've already levied,
Oh, yeah, we'll have to work.
so I'll have to do it. Something Jay and I assume.
If it's very much, they'll have a chance to pay it over years instead of over one-time payment.
Right, it has to be at least $500, right, to do that,
Each parcel,
yeah,
an individual parcel has to be over.
over 500, so.
So you say you levied everything the farmers paid?
Most of it, everyone has paid.
So we'll have to work through how that's gonna be
But
done.
then with the railroad paying less, you're gonna have to levy again?
Yes.
Yes,
They won't be getting refunds, if it'll just be additional, if anything, on the levied ones, right? Yeah.
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 And the ones that didn't have a, bill before, those 30 parcels or so,
Mhm.
be adjusted at the full amount.
so, yeah, we'll work through that with Trish to get that handled.
That's assuming the railroad won't fight.
Right. Well, I'm hoping it's what's that?
Do we need to present it to them before we levy them, I suppose?
Yes, yeah. We'll have a hearing, they'll have their chance, we'll have the ties
The
show up.
hearing will be what?
It'll be on the reclassification of the district, and that'll be probably, let's see if we turn it in now, because I'm sure we'll have to retype, or redo the points after I meet with the commissioners, but we can do that in a day, and then I can go over it with the commissioners again. We'll get the report submitted, probably won't be submitted before next week, just because of the timing with meeting with commissioners. But then you'll schedule a hearing 40 days later, so it'll probably be early February,
February?
yeah, when you have the hearing. I'm
At one
thinking,
time, they said they wanted to meet with us again without so many lawyers, but they never did.
no,
They never came back.
that's right, yeah, what's somebody say, 5 lawyers or something? Yeah.
Well,
a lot of
Mr.
lawyers.
moving on it.
Yes, exactly, that's the thing, we'll have
Keep it
that,
moving.
and we'll do the same
They
thing
will
with
be
Trish.
informed of that hearing, so if they
Yep.
wanna show up, they can.
Exactly. Yep.
Just send them a little letter with a red rose on it or something. Tell them they'll come.
It'll probably be February or so before we get it.
Yeah, it'll be early February,
I'll
I'd say.
sign on it.
Yeah,
So will this reclass be used for all future, or is it just this
Well,
time?
the intent is for all future. Now, if the railroad was smart, they'd ask for another reclassification following this, which wouldn't take much. But this is to basically catch them up for this. Until someone petitions, this is what will stand, though.
All right.
So the next time it happens, it'll still be 50/50 then?
Yeah. Yep.
I wish they'd do that for the county roads then.
Yeah.
Landowners pay 50%.
Yeah,
That makes sense, no.
DD two,
Going under that.
out here, the Gilmore City project, we're working with the attorney you're using, that Doug Strike, is it? How do you say that? He wants some additional information. He did prepare a letter of response to the contractor. I haven't seen that in the office enough, but,
I have preliminary.
yeah, it's a preliminary letter to Shaney's attorney, or Shaney in care of his attorney, just saying, here's what we're working through, this is why, so, it's getting a response, and then there'll be something more formal submitted with a summary of the actual costs and things in the near future too. It'll be similar to what we handed out. We have not presented that to the contractor. I want this Doug Strike's input on what we do provide the contractor. That will probably be part of the second letter to the contractor's attorney, is how I see it, so.
Yep.
I have two more people with me today. Here a while back, I said to him coming down, I must be looking older, somebody asked me about retirement, so. I mentioned Scott Brunswold's name. Scott is a partner with Jacobson Westergaard. He and I have both been with the company over 30 years. Jacobson Westergaard actually started in 1970, been around a long time. Fairly small operation, we got 10 people there locally in Esterville. We tried having a Spirit Lake office for a while, but we were so close, it was just, we ended up discontinuing that and just concentrating to have the one office in Esterville. Ellis Hyken, the other person today, she's been doing a lot of the drainage calculations and some of the basic report work for several years. I had to look up this morning how long Dallas had been with us, because I couldn't remember when she started. Almost 20 years. I can't believe it, so.
Time goes fast.
Yeah. Scott, I don't know if you want to say a little about yourself?
Got some
Yeah,
pocket calendars.
Oh, they were
Yeah.
just asking about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pass that around. As Rick mentioned, my name's Scott Brunswold. A little background, I grew up on a farm, went to the Spirit Lake School District through high school. I went a couple of years at junior college at Iowa Lakes, and then finished out my degree at Iowa State in agricultural engineering. And after the time period, as far as working under an engineer, I took my PE for civil engineering, I think in '89, and he says, just been over at Jacobs Westergaard for 30 years. Been working on drainage mostly right now at Emmett County's work, and work with other municipalities for utility infrastructure and stuff like that. So.
Scott, you might mention about the county engineer deal you ended up
Oh,
doing?
yeah, and I was also interim county engineer for 4 or 5 months.
I don't know if you heard, there was some controversy there with the existing county engineer, and,
Roger left.
yeah, and they were looking for some way to get through for a while, and Scott was able to step in and help them through that process.
And that was an eye-opener. There's a lot of stuff that they deal with that you don't see outside of the department, but they since hired, I think, the assistant engineer. It was at Pocahontas. He seems to be doing well there. So, but that's me in a nutshell, I guess.
Thanks.
Thank you. Dallas?
Sure.
Sure.
Oh, here's your other two calendars, I guess.
Yeah, we'll get one put up there and one.
Yeah. I graduated from Lake Park, Iowa, up in the very northwest corner, so I drive about a half hour to work every day, which isn't too bad when I have good traffic. I also graduated from Iowa State in '95 and then took my test, and I've been mainly working on, I just kind of got into the drainage here in the last couple of years, but I did a lot of, I do any of the ag stuff that comes in, so any hog barns or anybody that wants to do feedlot stuff, I do that. I was a town girl, but I married a farmer, and they have about, his dad has about 8,000 hogs, so I've been in the hog barn, I help vaccinate, and I do a lot of that, so, that's about it.
Why you get ag engineering too?
Nope, I'm
Civil?
civil. I am civil, but, kinda got into the ag work when, Paul Patini was still in our office, that's with the DNR now, and he kinda taught me how to do some of the ag stuff, and so I kinda took that over, and I enjoy it, I don't mind it at all, so.
Good.
It's nice to have that background and that experience.
Steve Eggers?
What's that?
No, Steve Eggers?
Yes, I do, yeah. He's
Where's-
my neighbor, actually.
Is he?
Yeah, I live right behind him. He works at the school.
Small world.
Yeah.
I have,
Huh?
He went to school there for years.
yeah, I have 4 kids that 2 are out of school and 2 are still in school, so, yeah.
Yeah, like I say, we're office of 10 people. Drainage is a big part of what we do. I mean, it's a huge part. Palo Alto, we've been doing, now they've been having us do nearly all their work for the last couple of years. So their list is getting along too, and they like to say, we sure seem to be busy in drainage. Between us and Humboldt, don't we have most of the jobs covered in this state? I said, you two together probably do more than the rest combined, from what I've seen. So, it's very, very active counties, which we appreciate very much. So, and we'll have to get Scott down to the IDDA meeting one of these years. He covers a lot of other meetings, Kiwanis and...
We had a good meeting Friday.
Yes,
Very good meeting.
you always pick up something from
I
those
think having the
meetings.
attorney on board's been really helpful.
Yes, very helpful.
I think
And
he's
if
an
he
asset
can't
to
answer
everybody.
something, he'll
Yeah.
find it out and he'll get back to you. I expect to hear from him today or tomorrow probably on the question I had for him. So, that's good, somebody to go to. And Trish tells me that he sat in on the, drainage clerk portion of it. And it was very good to have him in for that.
Johnson from Clarion was over there too, and he
Yeah.
said that was very interesting, good discussions.
Well, and you said they disagreed on some things, didn't they, or not?
Yeah, how they interpret the drainage code.
Yeah.
I mean-
Couple of lawyers disagreeing?
Not
Jeez, Matt.
David was playing.
Started the day off with disagreeing.
That's how they make money.
David was being the thorn, or what?
He was being the devil's advocate, he
Yeah.
said. So
Uh,
I'm gonna be the devil's advocate, because that's fine.
okay.
Those 2 figures, that's why our drainage code needs some updating,
Right.
Yeah, some clarification.
how it's perceived.
I thought,
versus done.
and I thought there might be more discussion on the increase on that 20,000 limit but ended up not. I think, who was
They
it?
are gonna tweak it a little.
Are they gonna? Okay. Because John Torbert called me before the meeting and said, are you having trouble interpreting this or a problem with the wording? I said, once you understand it, you study it, we haven't had any trouble with it. We've used it once already to do a higher cost project than 20,000 and didn't hit any snags. So there was I had a little uncertainty with the vertical versus horizontal, and but once you read through more of it, it was fine, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to 18.
Okay, you've got a petition for some cleaning on 18. Just give you a quick summary here.
That was the one the boys were in last week.
Yeah,
Probably.
on that.
Foreman, Trotter probably.
Yeah, okay, here's 18 right here. In 1996, you did this whole north-south section. You need a pointer. Yeah, I know, but that's, need to be taller. But this whole north-south section, that was done in 96. Now, you probably remember, because there was a little controversy on crop damage or something on the rest of it, I think it was just 2 years ago, from the upper end of that to the east, southeast.
Which is a big area.
The big area, you cleaned all of that out.
Yeah.
The petition now is for the balance of the main, which is this part here, and then it goes off to the
All the way,
northwest.
all the way up.
All the way up to the end of it.
And that's
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah. So that...
So at the end of that, you know, that's what Trotter was talking about. What kind of shape is that in? Is there an issue with that too?
That's part of what we'll look at.
Okay.
Oh, Paul knows.
Well, Larry,
About 4 foot.
About 4 foot of silt. How big a box was it that you put in that road? It was an 8 by...
8.
Yeah, and it's half full of silt.
So you put, okay,
where's that from?
you had to dig out a lot of silt with the box.
Well, the box just a mile south.
Of where Merkel is.
Well, yeah,
It's south of
the
there.
gravel road south of that a mile.
That's where it is.
But that's where it starts.
That's where the problem is. That's where it
Well,
starts.
yeah, it's all silted in.
And then that goes into what creek is that up there? That's,
That goes into the drainage district 18 all the way over to Prairie Creek.
oh, that's where it goes, it feeds back down, yeah, right, I'm looking backwards, yeah.
Okay.
And there also is an old bridge structure out there that I think they want
They want us to look at that, it's probably gonna come out the way it sounds.
That's what was left there, they thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an old farmer crossing.
And it sounds like it's maybe not needed anymore. One thing we run into is...
Well, there's nothing there except the embankments.
Okay.
There's
Oh.
no drive over, it's probably just...
No,
Okay.
there's nothing, you can't even walk across, there's nothing across there anymore.
Okay.
So that probably hasn't been
It's just a
cleaned
narrow
forever,
end of the
that-
ditch.
It's been a long, long time.
Maybe-
I don't remember
maybe
from
never
this
cleaned,
way,
but-
and that's possible. Have to believe that long ago, though, it had been done once anyway.
At least
Maybe
once,
in the
maybe,
50s.
but it's probably been 60 years ago.
I didn't look back at the history, you have the history section already written for the other two
Yeah.
projects.
That'll have a different history.
Yeah, and we have the,
What's that?
we have the benchmarks all established, so we know what grade we are supposed to be at right here.
Oh, it's out.
So that's a big help. That'll speed it up. So,
Okay.
We had
Well-
2 to 3 foot at that box culvert, and then we buried it, some anticipating him coming pointing more out.
Yeah,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
So I'll make a motion to accept the petition for repair. And who signed it actually? And was it Trotter, Larry?
Mark Foreman, Larry Trotter,
Oh,
and,
several.
is it Joel Bean?
Yes, could have been, he was...
Yeah, there were three of them here, they came right in there after the meeting and signed it.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept their petition for repair.
Second.
Second.
Second by Mort, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Hire an engineer.
We're trying to do all this field work that we can this fall. Ditches, I think, are gonna be out of the question, so that'll be spring.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yep.
Why, there's no snow?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
still ice in the bottom of them, and it's...
It nice, anyway.
Actually, that's not froze, you fell through it the other day, my son did, his walking cart fell up to his knees.
That's,
Just put your waders on.
we had one of our techs do that recently too. He was standing there hearing it cracking, wondering how deep it was before, and he was about the knees. But it was scary for a minute, he said. Yeah.
Need a motion?
Yeah.
Also, again, hire Rick Hopper as a drainage engineer.
Jacobson, Westergaard,
Yeah.
motion.
Say he used to
That's,
be Rick.
no, that's good, it just...
Any other discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Alright.
Opposed, motion carried.
Super, thank you. Anything comes up anytime, you all got my phone number.
Just for a brief updating out here on Highway 3, where we're at, what's left out there?
I drove by out there last week. I think he got all the dirt back in place.
I kind of thought he did, but it's hard to tell.
I didn't drive out there though.
No.
Yeah, But
I'm gonna sign this.
we're, I think he got it all in place. Looks to me like he'll have to work it again in the spring,
So will
and,
they work that ground up?
yes,
With some kind of a deal?
Yes,
'Cause mine's
we-
really packed at the
yep,
mouth.
I'm sure
I
that
didn't even
is.
go in there, 'cause I thought, well, let it winter, 'cause it was really, I was gonna tear my equipment up, but
No.
I think they come in and shoot it.
Yes, we've got it, we've made it standard procedure now to include deep ripping
Oh, good.
on the whole, the
Some of that's
work
really
area,
packed, where all
yes.
those Chevy trucks and that.
Yes. Oh, where the trucks go over and over again?
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's packed.
So that's left.
Yep.
And then they're gonna do that bulkhead.
Yep. We'll get something finalized for
Get that
arrangements.
Cleaned out. And
Yep.
then did they still need, they haven't put the intake in yet,
I
they did.
thought they did.
Or maybe they did, but I haven't really
I
noticed.
thought they did.
Would that be like a steel braided thing in the
Yeah,
ground?
yeah,
I need to look, I haven't seen it.
I think it's on the west side.
Okay, I'll
Unless
take a
I'm
peek.
confusing
I
it
just
with
haven't
another
looked, because you
location.
drive by there, you wanna go slow for that dip.
Yeah.
I don't think to look down there, but...
Yeah.
'cause they got a bucket sitting out there yet.
Yeah,
And then,
there's one machine out in the
and there's
middle of
another
the
machine.
section.
You think everything's filled, probably?
I think everything's filled. And just so you know what...
Shouldn't be bad in the spring
No,
to finish. I
no.
don't think.
Level it off, work it, pick up rocks, done.
Get somebody in there to do that bulkhead, that'll be the time.
Yes. And we're, just so you know, I guess we're working with Ken Nielsen, he's wanting to get some tile in there to take advantage of this new system, so...
I'm sure.
We're working with them and Yemlin on the design of a system to pick up his water, so... I'm interested in seeing that go, so we can actually see how much good it does right away on a project, so... Thank you. Any questions, anytime, give us a holler. Not far away, usually.
I just know.
Yeah, exactly. And then I look at it as a challenge to get here, so. I told him coming down, if there's no traffic and I don't have passengers, I'm stupid about driving. I go way too fast, so.
Okay,
Thank you.
Sticking around for this application?
Yeah, what is this here stuff here?
Oh.
Let's,
Yeah.
Roper do that power
Power
pole.
line going across.
Oh.
Do you have to, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I guess I didn't realize that was on there.
Oh, sorry,
No, that's fine.
Sleepy.
sorry.
Well,
I've been talking to Camille Charlesworth from EC Source, and, we've developed an agreement that covers the drainage districts above, across, and below. Webster County has had Eric Eady put together their contract, which is, I just mocked mine up from there. And they have agreed to it, they've signed off on it. I believe they even started last week
Oh.
doing some, is what Camille said, I don't know, the very north part.
Yeah.
Putting in driveways in there.
Is that what they were doing?
Driveways are all
EC
in.
Source, or is it Mid-American that you're signing this permit with?
Well, it's actually with EC Source, they're the ones that are doing it right now.
Somebody said something about them pouring some...
Yeah, they're working in the north part of the county, and actually, I noticed they got heavy timbers, they must be laying across where tile lines are. What is that?
They're gonna spread them out wherever they go across the fields.
Really?
Where there is no road beside it, they're gonna supposedly lay them out to move the machinery across.
Wow.
So they're minimizing compaction.
Well, that's why, it looked to me that they had looked like they had staked something with red flags going across the field, and then they laid a section of 8-foot square timbers over wherever that red flag went through. I thought it was a tile line.
Maybe it is, but they let us...
And I noticed up in Cassuth County, they had done that also.
They were gonna put it across the whole mile, is what they told me at one point.
Really?
Mile to mile.
Unless they wait till the ground freezes, then they won't have to worry about it, maybe.
Yeah.
We looked for trouble areas too, as far as, you know, allowing for the sag, and so that it wasn't the maximum sag, where there was an open ditch where you'd have to dig. Looked at where they'd be crossing tile, got them copies of drawings of drainage districts, so they'd know more where to look. And they talked about the exploratory they do to find these, and be sure they didn't create any problems. Unless one of their peers would hit it,
Then they just reroute it, I guess.
yeah,
That's all they
exactly.
do.
So the hope would be that
Tile.
they get the county involved to just inspect that and be sure it was done the way you want it, so.
Okay. We need a motion to
Approved.
approve all those applications.
Mhm. You know who they're for, what ditch or not?
We have...
We've got them in front of us.
That works for me.
I move we approve the application of EC Source for construction over across beneath, and as stated by Trish.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. All right, well, glad to meet your
Thanks for coming.
helpers or
About time I get around to
workers.
that. So, yeah, thank you very
Buy
much.
lunch on the way home now.
Well, I'll just speed home.
What a boss.
I tried.
Yeah, we could swing some. I asked them if they've been to the casino yet in Emmitsburg, and neither of them have. Maybe we should have lunch there.
There you go.
There you go. Just be careful.
Yeah, exactly.
Careful mixing.
Was it slick up there this morning?
No, we were at 37.
Pretty warm.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Yeah.
When the radio
Last night it
came
was a
on.
little slippery for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's-
36 when I came in.
Yeah, Dell's got it to the office just in time for us to leave. She ended up, what was it, 4 people ahead of you?
Yeah.
Somebody that wouldn't drive over 45, even though it wasn't slippery,
Yeah.
and then 3 more cars that went fast.
Yeah.
But she made it.
You get a train going,
Uh-huh. Thank you.
All right, motion on drainage.
So moved.
Second,
A second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
I'm gonna put this one up.
Right on time.
Claims?
Who's got
I did not.
I'll look at the claims, we have $253,358.84.
$398,
Oh,
wasn't it?
we gotta wait for Peggy?
Yeah.
Better wait for Peggy.
I must have wrote that down, $390.
Did I write it wrong?
You get the $398.
Better look at that, we got 2 different numbers, me and Mort.
I got 398.
All right, I looked
That's
at the
what I
wrong
got.
numbers.
You get this to handwritten.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
398, spent money. 398.84. We spent money.
You make a motion. I'll second. I don't need this one. I don't have it written down.
Okay.
Oh.
We'll wait for Peggy to get in.
Nice to meet you.
That's good, but you too.
Why don't you get out of engineering now?
83, unhappy all the time.
I always get ahead of
Oh,
you.
there were several, 3 or 4 options in that curriculum I could go in, it was, mine was soil and water.
Okay.
So I had a lot of civil classes along with that, so.
We pay crossings all the time. Hearing on them every day.
Peterson, Al Peterson.
Yeah, wait for the engineer in this room today.
Oh,
that's a good part.
In between that, and our property.
He's an M.E. Mechanical mile, we have to put it on.
Regress, you know. They wanted to sell that one.
Big one's coming Thursday and Friday.
Well, hell no.
I'm kinda serious about that.
They said, as long as you're, I'll let you want another acre on the other side. Mold, what would we do? Another center, I don't think.
Yeah.
What do you think, Rick?
What's that? I wanted to let you know about it first.
Talking to-
Oh,
Kent. Who's gonna win the ball game Saturday, Friday? He's a Hawkeye.
And he's got the playground down there, so he
Does he?
has a right away to get back.
I wouldn't either, I wouldn't bet on that, but you never know.
Could be a good game. Thank God we had that way before Gary left that thing, 'cause he negotiated that with Alan when he sold that property, see.
Wait, baby, shut up.
Even at the meeting Friday, they said something about, they're speaking bad about the football team, but then what did Helmer say? At least we got a basketball team.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Yeah. Okay, now let's try to do claims.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the claims. They were $253,398.84, and drainage was $10,378 even.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, Paul?
Well, you're right on time, you know that, 30
Well, I
seconds.
try to be.
Great.
Experience.
Get here.
Part of the claims that you just dealt with would have been, this voucher would have been included. This voucher has been revised from what you got in your packet, because
Oh,
shortly after,
I think you texted that, so did you?
shortly after we got final quantities on the pipe, the cross pipe, and got the last 2 tickets for rock, so that we could final this project out, complete in place.
Well,
This
perfect.
This is final numbers, so the next thing you'll see on this is retainage.
Yep.
And instead of wait another 2 weeks for 2 loads of rock and 7 feet of pipe or whatever, we revised it, before the claims got to, the courthouse. And thus, we should have, a claim for $17,299.91.
I'll make a motion that we approve that voucher number.
I'll second.
Any other discussion?
Well, I was out and looked at a couple of them, they look good.
I need to go out and see this one.
No, this one, we rocked, last week, put some rock on it. We'll anticipate we'll put some more on, in the spring possibly. This is Alfred's territory, so it needs...
He'll get some rock.
No.
Have something to work.
No, the fill across the road, even though we probably rocked it on that frozen top, but, the top only was frozen. We didn't bury frozen because, again, the contractor peeled and backfilled with suitable material. So it should be done. We have a little bit, remaining on, the first box with some leveling of some dirt. Otherwise, I think we're done.
Good.
Okay.
I might add that he'd been at the well requesting an extra work order from that first box a couple of times, and we've denied him, and the rumor is that he's gonna hit me one more time again at Fort. But, because the structure was built and widened, we had removal of structure instead of structures, and
He didn't realize the second bulkhead that was behind it.
Well, no, there wasn't...
Nobody knows it.
Well, there wasn't anything behind it, it was in two pieces.
It was two
I
separate
see.
deals.
There was a piece with a wing wall and then the added width, and he wanted to, I mean, it wasn't anything hidden. If you would inspect the site ahead of time, you could see it, so therefore there's no change in conditions, as opposed to if there was a bulkhead behind it that you couldn't see. So that's where, you know, he's done a nice job. I mean, we got him, we were concerned, with the pricing on these, which I'm also concerned with the prices of things to come, but we hadn't worked with Mr. Ugness before, and he was a detail-oriented contractor that did a nice job.
Yeah.
And so,
It's good to know.
but on the other hand, we wanna give him what he's got due coming, and that's it. So,
Right.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Anything else?
No, we're having some nice, end of October weather this week, I hope.
Absolutely.
And we'll take it. We kinda get, everything turns into average by the time we're done, and, this is the way it's starting to look again.
All right.
Very good.
Update change on weather support for fire truck.
Mr. Broback was in last week, asked if we would write a letter of support to this address, for their new equipment purchase.
I think they're applying for some grants, aren't they? Yeah. Just need some letter of recommendation. I move we approve, authorize the chairman to sign this letter of recommendation or letter of support.
Is there a second?
I'll second Carl's motion.
Any other discussion? None, all in favor?
Aye.
We got the real estate contract, that's already been done, right? Okay, committee reports.
Okay.
Did you do anything?
Oh, a little bit. Last Tuesday at 9 o'clock, I came up to the courthouse with Peggy and the staff and listened to a presentation about new voting machines. There's some new changes. I think ours are 8 or 9 years old. I'm sure Peggy gave a better report on that than I, but I was kind of impressed with what we saw. Even though it's gonna cost us money over the years, I think we probably have to go along with it someday. So that was at 9 o'clock on Tuesday. At 11 o'clock, I went down to City Hall, we talked more about this home base, and I got Alicia to cover that this morning, but they're moving along county-wise and to get this home base Iowa approved in our county. Got some financial packages put together to encourage these people who's getting out of the service to come back and take up employment and possible real estate. Wednesday, Rick and I went out to our sister's entrees for a open house they had from economic development. That little operation's really taken off. What'd they say, they had 40,000 meals last month? 42,000 meals, they got 27 employees now.
Open house.
Yeah.
They bought the old building out there that used to be,
Voyager.
and they got a building within a building. They got a freezer the size of this courthouse
Mm-hmm.
within that building. So they're really going at it, they're doing a great job. It was really interesting to see them.
Yeah, they're hoping to move December 17th, but they got a lot of work to get done before they get there.
Move from
Downtown. Yeah.
They're gonna not have...
They're gonna keep their downtown store open, but packaging and all that cooking's gonna be done out at the new building, but they're still gonna keep a retail store downtown.
When they had their open house, you know, downtown, and I saw what those cooks all worked, I thought, you've gotta have a balancing act to move back and forth. It was unbelievably tight, so this has gotta be a big improvement for them.
And,
Make them a lot more efficient and more user-friendly, I would think.
yeah, and they have room for expansion.
Open house.
They can, she thought they could expand up to 120,000 meals without adding on to the building. There's enough room in that building to do this. And they built their facility to do that just by adding equipment.
All the equipment they stored is up, you got a stove here, they got a blank spot, you got something here, you got a blank
So
spot.
they can add on.
They're building for,
They're planning to get bigger.
they will have an open house when they open that facility.
That would be nice
worth
when they
going
were to
see.
get going, good, yeah.
So most of those people out there are ladies that are cooking and doing?
Well, we didn't see any of the people working there, 'cause they're not working there yet. All we saw was construction workers with hard hats. But, they got 31 employees right now, and they're looking to hire 5 more, I think.
Quite an operation from 0 to where it is now.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, on Thursday, Rick and I again went to Charles City to the district, supervisors meeting. That was really a good session, I think. Contrary to popular demand, we learned a lot just from each other. They had a show and tell, you know that, been there, you guys been there before. They go around, each county gives a report, and that spurs questions for later on. A lot of the questions this year were dealing with, law enforcement. And we learned, particularly on this law enforcement, nobody has unified law, any of those 19 counties.
So that ain't gonna work.
But without exception, they all have fees charged to the local communities, except one county, and they had only 400 residents in all the little towns combined. And those fees range from 0 for that county to $25 for some counties per capita. And they readjust that on the basis of population. Another thing we asked about was, Paul ought to be here. They're talking about this power line going across and building all those driveways, and they're leaving those driveways in. They're building it such that there's no way they're gonna tear them up. The farmers wanna keep them.
Yeah.
I think Paul's already working on that.
He's
There's
working
some
on it.
people that have already asked about leaving. I think they're talking about that.
I think Paul mentioned they're gonna have to come in and ask for them to stay.
Right.
And we'll have to approve them.
That's what he's talking about.
On
Is
basis.
Sioux County there?
Yes.
Yep. The two
And
people-
they're-
Leaving them up there?
They're leaving them.
Yeah.
If the farmer wants them, they're leaving them. And I think if the farmer doesn't want them, they will take them out.
Well, gosh, you look at them, I don't know why a farmer wouldn't want it.
I know.
Well, the rock they put in.
Crazy. Those are fantastic driveways.
Yeah.
Even if they are right in front of the pole.
Well, they're actually off the side of the pole.
They are?
Yeah.
So that's even better,
Yeah, it is better.
really.
The pole's
Of
about...
course, you know, they might like to have the farmers leaving there if they ever have issues with
Yeah,
them.
if
They always
they've got
got a drive, you know, in
service
some ways, I would think they'd want them left there just for that
Yeah.
service act.
One of the things at that meeting, we had the ISAC staff there and went over the legislative proposals for next year, which we hear several times. Then we had some legislators there, and I don't know which one it was. One of them proposed on this gas tax discussion. You know, they think the wheel's starting to go for the hybrid. But one guy brought up, a new legislator, why don't we, get rid of that fuel color situation, which is probably gonna go down to 2. You can't assess farmers with colored fuel for what they use in their fields, but that's still showing some of it. They suggested there be a tax on liquid fertilizer that farmers get from hog yards. They said you're already paying a tax on the commercial fertilizer, why shouldn't they pay a tax on that fertilizer that comes out of the hog operations? They're the ones that are using the roads, they ought to be assessed just like if you go to town and buy fertilizer. Nobody heard of that before, but my question to them was, let's don't rattle the cage, we get something going, they'll talk about this and that for several more years, and won't get anything done.
Let's get something going.
But that's a new proposal, I never heard of it. So, anyway, same old thing, and then Friday we had the drainage meeting down at Des Moines, or down in Fort Dodge, we were all there. Good meeting.
Okay.
All right, Peggy, on Thursday morning at 10 o'clock, I met with Trish and FEMA, Andre, our FEMA representative, and we had to put together kind of a rough estimate what those damages on the drainage just over there by Hardy was done from the weather. We worked on that for about 45 minutes, and I took Andre out to the site, and he GPS'd all 5 locations that we documented with some repair, and seemed okay with it. So as soon as Doug can get on that, I think we're gonna get some FEMA on that. I'm sure it's gonna help us $10,000 to $20,000, maybe there's at least that much damage, so that'll be savings to the drainage district out there. And then Thursday night, I went to Webster City at 5 o'clock for an executive meeting. We ran through the budget for CFR. I'm sorry, Peggy. We ran through the budget report with our accountant first and touched on some highlights. I guess one thing they're working diligently on is to get the billing computer program process to match with the account collection. They're not talking to each other, so when they do their monthly reports, there's always some discrepancy in dollar amounts. So I think we're gonna get that resolved this coming year. Pam Barkley is still our accountant, that's doing the work internally for the auditor, and I guess the highlight for me was when we were about at our dyer's end, we had barely enough money to operate a month at a time, which is about $250,000 just, to pay bills to have on hand. And as of the 1st of January, we paid off $300,000 of the note of the $600,000 we owed on the Ames building. Just wrote a check for it. We still have $1.2 million in cash. So things have turned around rather quickly. The attitude is better. The communication is better between board and staff. And it's amazing what getting the right people in the right place will do. That an organization that should have never had any real trouble, all of a sudden is making, don't want to use the word making a profit because it's non-profit, but they're at least carrying themselves, and I think we're gonna probably be able to start setting some money aside for additional capital improvements down the road, so. Great meeting. Our meetings are now running about an hour and 15 minutes instead of 2.5 hours, and it's sure nice on everybody that wants to watch Iowa State and Iowa play.
Did anything ever develop between, one, the church, one,
You know what? They're still renting from us, but they haven't moved or did anything else. We've just, I'm glad we didn't sell off any of that now, because I think, it's an asset to us at this point, so. And then Friday morning, we had the drainage meeting at 8 o'clock, before God's, and that was it.
Well, I was, up to, Sisters with Carl on Wednesday from 12 to 1:30. And we've talked about that already, and then I was up in Charles City with Carl again from 9 till 2. And then I was down in Fort Dodge, 8 to 2.
With Carl.
With Carl again.
You brought back that forward, you might want to share it.
Yes, we did bring back their little handouts from every county.
You give a good report, Carl.
He does, Carl does a good job.
Sorry about that.
Chickasaw County has their own bridge crew, which was interesting, and they've been very happy doing that.
That's a wild engineer that we talked to at ISAC. Putting in railroad flatbeds.
Yeah, they get creative up there, and maybe we can look at, push a little harder on some of these things. I think we can get by with something different. And there's
Bob's got a lot of money because of, windmills and...
That was very interesting. A lot of counties have a lot of income revenue that we don't have.
That's right.
It's just, can make you kinda a little jealous. Hancock County, they put in an ATV ordinance, which allows people to ride their ATVs on the county roads. And they've been a little over a year now, and they haven't had any incidents, no problems. So they were pretty happy with that. 'Cause just the other day, I seen our county sheriff had a couple ATVs pull over out in front of my house that were on the roads and trails. I think they were riding the trails, what happened to them, they got called in for that. So that's just a couple issues up there, but,
Another issue we heard about was one of the counties was redoing job descriptions for every employee.
Oh, yeah, that was, which one was
They're
that?
going through and studying the job description versus pay rate. It's gonna cost them $130,000 to get people in line to what they should be, to advance the work they're doing. But they hadn't done anything for 40 years, and they really fell behind.
Yeah, it's been a while. And then I did talk to the gal, she talked about that law enforcement issue with the 28E agreements with the small communities. And I asked her how they approached the subject, and it was mainly through their insurance was not gonna cover them because of that, because they didn't have a 28E agreement with these cities.
Sheriff could be in trouble.
the sheriff could get in trouble doing something in their community because they didn't have an agreement signed.
Some of that thing.
So I asked her, how smooth did that go? And she says, well, it went fairly smooth, but it took them 3 years to get it all done. From the time they started till it was all completed. So it wasn't an easy process, but she said they did a lot of informational meetings, bringing in the mayors and the city councilmen, and had their insurance agent there, and, but they got it done, and I think they were at $10 or something like that. Or maybe it was $7.50 even. It wasn't a lot. I mean, it's not gonna be a revenue generator for us by no means, but it's something by state code, they gotta have it.
Something we gotta get working on.
Yeah, something that has to be...
Even if it's $0, right?
Even if it's $0, it has to be, something that's gonna have to be done to protect our sheriff.
You know, when we talk about the towns, Peggy, I mean, what do you think the population is if you take the rural out in just the small towns? If we got about half.
We have that
I've got
figured out.
some information.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about that at a work session. Okay, great.
Those kind of questions you guys
Perfect.
have.
Yeah,
The other
so,
thing is, Dean has a pretty good rapport with the communities. If him and John went out to the city council, because the hard thing is, you have a meeting here, and it's really hard to get the
Get them to
council
come.
members to come in the times. If you go on a night when they have a meeting, that's probably why it takes a little bit of time. If you had 10 towns, it'd take a year to
yeah.
get to every council.
Well, one of our supervisors, if the city's in your
For that
district,
location, yeah.
you should go out and represent
I would think
the county
that
there.
would be a good way to start without making
I think
it so
so.
formal for them.
Yeah, if they just send a letter out, it's...
They're not gonna like that.
No, I think we need to go visit with them and tell them our
Yeah.
concerns.
Yep, I'm sure you should do that.
And John does a good job explaining why the law says you need to do it. I mean, I
Yeah.
think he could present it well, so, anyway.
Okay.
That was it for me, those 3 meetings.
Okay, Monday had LEC, it was a real short meeting, all we did was okay the claims, and they were pretty low this time compared to what they usually are. And then I attended that drainage district meeting in Fort Dodge also.
Okay, Wednesday, Peggy and I were at the ISAC board meeting. One of the main things there was a discussion of the proposed health insurance, the 24 counties that belong to ISAC's health insurance group. What was interesting, the actual medical claims were, I think, down a little bit, but the pharmacy claims were way up, 18%. So, the base rate is gonna go up about 8% for the ISAC group. And then you'll have the adjustment between county, whether they're up or down in their claims and so forth. Other than that, went over some of the legislative stuff and, said goodbye to several board members. Wayne Cheezick has been on for a long time, he's getting off. Grant, forget it's Jeffries, is it, from Washington County, treasurer's going off. Who else is going off?
The engineer.
Oh, yeah, Jim George is going off, got a new engineer. No, not Wayne. And,
He is a big guy, yeah.
Everybody does.
and then,
Give him a mic.
Friday, I had the Iowa
Big
Drainage
one.
District, meeting in Fort Dodge. I thought we had good speakers. I got a kick out of, the young guy that took, Lemke's place. He says, boy, I wish I could say the things he says. You can tell he's not involved with government anymore. He can speak his own piece.
Good chance for him to vent.
So, to kind of give his 40 years perspective of being involved with drainage and so forth with the state. That was it. Do you have anything, Peggy?
I was gonna say, at the ISAC board meeting, they did recognize Harlan as chairperson, gave him a very nice going away gift. Commented on how much fun they had at the summer retreat, and the hayrack ride will always be remembered by all the other counties, but they saw a side of Humboldt they never knew before.
Even Bill Peterson talking about that up at Charles City, about how bad Andre he was.
Yeah. Everybody likes Harlan.
Another thing, that
Really
came up
not
in
to-
the district meetings up there, a couple of counties have gotten proposals and negotiating with the unions. Sounds like 2% is pretty much the running goal of some of them up there so far.
There'd be...
One county, they came with 10%, and they says, we don't even wanna talk to you.
Well, next week, the union will be here to make their presentation, at 10 o'clock, so...
We need her 2%.
Yeah.
Other than that,
One county was
I've
going for 2,
got,
and the other extreme was 10.
ISAC sent out a question and answer webinar. Did you get that at home? It's considered an ISAC conference question and answer webinar. I'm looking for a date on this thing.
Yeah, I think he's read that on my...
I'm not even seeing, okay, January 20th. And it's a way to set, and this webinar with Kelsey Seaver, the new ISAC event administrator. And
Okay.
just talk about what went bad, what went good, what do you want to see changed, give her some ideas, specific concerns. I'll pass this around, let you read a little more detail. If anybody wants me to sign them up, please sign my name on there, and I'll get you signed up.
So we have a webinar, ISAC, on the 17th of December?
Yep, that's what legislature.
Okay.
That's all I got.
That's all you got? Need a motion to adjourn.
Wait,
This is January.
I have looked at an e-source thing with our county engineer. And while we were looking at it, there's some things that they have crossed out. So I don't know how we wanna handle it, if we wanna not approve this, and I wanna send it back to the Mid-American because it crosses out the e-source to operate and maintain. Mid-American they should maintain it in the future. So I don't know,
What'd they cross out? That E-Source would maintain?
the e-source crossed out in initial, they agree upon the issuance of this permit to construct, operate, and maintain. They did operate and maintain, which should be part of the contract with Mid-American. E-source is the ones that do the digging, I guess,
On behalf of
of Mid-American. Is that a loophole now? I don't know. Mid-American should also sign one, is that correct? Or is it just E-source? E-source is the one,
Well, what did Webster County do? This was at Webster County's agreement, and then they doctored that up, is that what you said?
E-source did, yeah.
They found something in there they didn't like and crossed it out. Well, can you read again what they crossed out?
They crossed out, I have one for each drainage district that they cross, each
Okay.
Yeah.
section. And it says, they agree upon the issuance of a permit to construct, and then they crossed out, operate and maintain the above described improvements in compliance with the said requirements. So when it-
So they're not gonna maintain,
Operator maintain, 'cause
Which is-
in
because
theory, it's
I can
true.
see their point, because they're just putting it in, and they're
And
leaving.
it's installed.
So if there's a broken tile 3 years from now, who do you call?
Right.
I mean,
And maybe it's covered somewhere else, I don't know.
Well, it's probably, you know, if they broke the tile, you'd think within the first 12 months, they probably would, they would fix, but after that, you know, you go up past that, they're not gonna guarantee